All right, let's talk about something. A modern-day mystery that I bet feels really familiar to you. It's about those people on social media, and hey, maybe this is you, who have a profile, but they just don't post. Now, while some people might find that weird, what if I told you it's actually a sign of incredible emotional strength? That's what we're going to unpack today.
You know who I'm talking about, right? Their account is there, they're in the mix, but their own page is, well, it's a ghost town. No new pictures, no updates on their life, nothing. And it just makes you wonder, what's really going on there?
So here's the thing. It is so easy for our brains to just jump to conclusions. We see an empty profile and we think, oh, they must be shy or insecure, or maybe they're even hiding something. But the psychological reality, it's often the total opposite. And honestly, it's way more empowering. It usually means these folks are deeply independent, really grounded in their own lives, and have a powerful sense of autonomy.
Okay, let's dive into our first key trait. And trust me, this one is a biggie. It's all about where you get your sense of worth. It's about learning to trust that compass inside of you, that strength of self-validation.
This whole idea boils down to a core concept in psychology called an internal locus of control. It sounds complicated, but it's not. It's the simple, powerful belief that you are in charge of your own life, your self-worth, your happiness. It comes from your choices and your actions, not from what other people happen to think about you.
And here's how that shows up online. If you have this inner compass, you just don't feel that need for a like or a comment to prove that your experiences mattered. Your reality feels real to you, and that's enough. It's a kind of quiet confidence that just doesn't need a stage.
Our second point really builds on that idea of inner strength. It's about pushing back against all those unwritten rules of the internet, all in the name of protecting your own personal freedom.
You know, that protective instinct actually has a name: psychological reactance. Have you ever felt that pressure, that feeling that you're supposed to be constantly sharing your life? Well, when you feel that social pressure trying to box you in, your brain has this amazing natural instinct to push back. It's a defense mechanism, and it's there to protect your freedom.
So here's how that response actually works. First, you feel that pressure, that expectation to post something. Your brain immediately detects that as a threat to your personal freedom. And then, almost without thinking, you push back by choosing not to post. And just like that, you've taken back control. You've restored your own autonomy.
This brings us to our third trait, and it's a huge shift in perspective. It's all about choosing to focus on your own growth instead of getting caught up in competing with everyone else. It's about staying in your own lane and running your own race.
You see, so much of social media is basically fueled by something called social comparison theory. It's that very human thing we do, where we look at other people to try and figure out how we're doing. The big problem, though, is that it's a game you can't win. You end up comparing your real, messy life to someone else's perfectly curated highlight reel.
People who decide not to post are often just opting out of that whole system. And I mean, look at this chart. It says it all, right? The validation you can get from the feed is so small compared to the value of what's happening in your actual life. They're measuring their success by their own progress, not by how they look next to someone else online.
And that's really the heart of it. They are busy focusing on their own journey. They're building a life, they're making progress, and they're doing it without all the background noise and judgment that comes with putting every moment up for public review. Okay, our fourth trait really gets down to the core of who we are, our identity. It's about having a sense of self that is so solid, you don't need to take a picture of your life to prove that it's actually happening. It's about choosing to live the moment, not just capture it.
Psychologists have a term for this. They call it a stable self-concept. But really, all it means is that your sense of who you are is strong and consistent. You don't need an audience to make your life feel real or meaningful, because the experience, the feeling of it, is more than enough.
So what does this actually look like in real life? Well, it means you'd much rather be in the moment than watch it through your phone screen. It means you find the real value in the experience itself, not in the perfectly filtered photo you post later. Your identity isn't attached to the digital proof, it's attached to the actual memory.
And that leads us beautifully into our final trait, truly understanding the power of privacy. And remember, this is not about hiding, not at all. This is about making a conscious choice to be the one in control of your own story.
You see, people who choose to be private often have a really sharp understanding of power dynamics. They know that information can be twisted, used for judgment, or even to manipulate. So by protecting their privacy, they're not being paranoid, they're being smart. They're setting a healthy boundary and making sure that they are the only ones who get to write their story.
So let's just bring this all home. If you are one of those people who chooses to keep your life private in a world that is screaming at you to share everything, please hear this. It is not a sign that you're antisocial. It is a powerful sign of independence, and it is a sign of deep emotional strength. You're not being difficult, you're just wired for a different and maybe deeper kind of connection.
And that brings us to one last question, just for you to think about. In a world that demands you put every part of your life on display, what parts of your story are truly worth protecting? What will you choose to keep sacred just for you? Whatever your answer is, just know it's the right one.